The following is a production of Grenzebach, Gleer & Associates, consultants in philanthropic management.
I'm Scott Atwill, Senior Vice President at Grenzebach, Gleer & Associates, and there's no question, the community college is the workhorse of American higher education. Of all the students who graduate with four-year degrees, nearly half of them spent at least some time on a two-year campus. That's the world of Doug Ferguson, who spent nearly 20 years in alumni relations and today runs his own alumni program at Delaware Community College outside of Philadelphia. The community college sector has unique challenges when it comes to advancement, which is why so many took part in the CASE conference designed specifically for two-year colleges. Ferguson served as conference chairman, and that's where he sat down to answer GG+A's 10 questions.
The current trend we're trying to figure out is better student engagement while they're on campus to turn them into more volunteers, alumni donors, participants, alumni board members. So we're trying to cultivate, I personally am trying to cultivate them, student leaders while they're on campus through commencement, and then figure out how we can best utilize them after graduation. I've heard about more e-giving, online giving, as opposed to traditional mail solicitations. I think that is where we are going, and we're seeing increased giving rates of participation, et cetera, because of the ease of Venmo, Apple Pay, and other payment devices, aside from writing a check and putting it into the mail, bank transfers, online bank transfers. So we're seeing more participation because people are finding it easier to give via the vendors and companies that are out there, in addition to PayPal and others. Community college alumni engagement, or engagement in general, is tough because many of our students are part-time, work full-time, have family responsibilities, so their time is even more limited than at a four-year institution. So we need to be extra smart in how we ask them to do things, how we utilize their time, asking them to volunteer, because they're being pulled in so many other different directions that we really want to maximize when we bring them into an event or to a room, or when we sit down to discuss a donation. We really want to make use of that 30 minutes to 1 hour as best as we can. The biggest engagement challenge that I find personally is that many of our students will transfer to a four-year institution and then lose their affinity for their two-year institution. And we're trying to overcome that, especially, again, starting at the student level. We are trying to make a good first impression on them when they're on campus, get them involved, show them what we do after graduation. And I've had actually some at their four-year institutions come back and say, we took such good care of them. They need help or assistance that their four-year wasn't giving them, and they're happy to come back and help us out in some way. I think that it's an important tool. If they want to see the funds come in, it's a relationship building tool. It needs some resources. It needs a little bit of technology resources, a little bit of professional development resources, minimal staff resources. To 35,000 graduates need to be cultivated to some extent, engaged either online or in person, and those resources need to be expended just the way we would do admissions staffers going to career fairs and things like that, or high school fairs. So to some extent, we need to be more on the street, engaging and building those relationships, but it is a tough job because our people are only there part-time, a couple hours a week, as opposed to a four-year institution where they're there more fully and are more available to them. Definitely social media is becoming more prevalent. It's already prevalent, but more engagement, Skype meetings, webinars, things along those lines that people can do from their phones or their iPads to some extent, instead of having them come to campus. You don't want to do that all the time, but again, making best use of their time while they're at work or something. We're seeing more direct student engagement. I've told a lot of my colleagues here, and we've talked in general about recruiting them while they're beginning on campus from day one, from the time they walk on as an orientation student or something like that, to make that good first impression, working with the club leaders and some of the professors to say, if you see a rising star, let us know. We'll keep an eye on them, and maybe give them an opportunity as a student to the Alumni Association to help them prepare better for graduation. My biggest success story would probably have to be our team last year coordinated our 50th anniversary for Delaware County Community College, and we hosted nearly 1,000 people over an 8-hour period, despite several challenges that presented themselves a couple days out, personal and professional challenges. We pulled together, we had a team effort, and we hosted probably one of the best events the college has ever seen. We were able to welcome our new president with open arms and introduce her to a lot of our key players, alumni award winners, trustees, et cetera, retired faculty and staff. So it was a great one-day event that took almost a year's worth of planning, but everything that day was near perfect, from the weather to the food to the participation, and we couldn't have been more prouder with the results. We traditionally use alumni donor participation to some extent. I track email addresses, mailing rates, etc. We've went from 1,000 to 12,000 email addresses in our database. We have one of the largest LinkedIn groups for two-year community colleges on the East Coast. We have over 1,300 LinkedIn members. We have over 1,300 Facebook alumni that are connected with us. So on an engagement front, we're finding those measures are very successful. We're seeing less and less mail going out and reaching people, so we're trying to figure out different ways. But the engagement on social media especially, which is mostly free and not as much of a time-consuming effort, has been beneficial to us. For my peers, I would say you really cannot discount the student leaders who are on your campus right now. You need to be working with them daily. Check your bulletin boards, read the student newspaper, go to a baseball or basketball game, etc., and see whose name keeps popping up. And those are the volunteers that you're going to want to look for in the near future. On student giving, we're still struggling with that. We are finding better success of working with a current student 1 year leading into graduation because it's better for peer-to-peer fundraising. So student engagement turns into healthier, happier alumni volunteers in the future and provides the next generation of leadership that we're going to need. I've been working in alumni relations on and off for about 19 years. It's hearing stories, seeing students affected by the college in some way, wanting to give back their time or their money because they had their life changed to some regard, and wanting to reward that change in some way, shape, or form. I love hearing stories, especially at the community college level. We have some really fantastic stories, students and graduates who have really remarkable stories. They've overcome a lot or they've achieved a lot that going to school part-time while working or raising a family, etc., wouldn't have been possible without a 2-year education to get them started. And I just enjoy finding new stories and success stories to share with our general public.
10 Questions has been a production of Grenzebach, Gleer & Associates, where our mission is advancing yours.